All right, let's talk about something that, well, it probably feels super personal to a lot of us, right? I'm talking about our relationship with our screens. It feels like we're expected to be connected 24/7, but we all feel that cost, that constant connection getting higher and higher. So the big question is, how do you unplug when you literally can't unplug? That's what we're digging into today. And I want to start with a question that really gets to the heart of it. So just think about that for a second. Is your phone a tool that works for you? Or have you kind of become a servant to it? Always answering that endless chorus of pings and buzzes and dings, all demanding your attention. The answer to that question, well, it says a lot about how we live today. 142. What on earth is that? Well, according to recent studies, that's how many times, on average, we check our phones. Every single day. I mean, do the math. That's like grabbing for your phone every 10 minutes that you're awake. Wow. At that point, it's not even a habit anymore, right? It's just a reflex. And that reflex, it leads us right into our first big topic, the always-on problem. We're going to pull back the curtain on what all this constant connection is really costing us. And hey, if any of what we're about to talk about starts to feel a little too familiar, I promise you, you are definitely not alone. This feeling of just digital burnout, it is everywhere. A new Voodoo study found that half of all millennials and almost half of Gen Z say they feel totally overwhelmed by their screen time. And think about it. These are the generations that grew up in a digital-first world. So this isn't some personal failure. It's more like a shared generational problem we're all dealing with. And it's not just a vague feeling either. Our bodies are actually sending out warning signals. I mean, physically, you've got tech neck, which affects a whopping 72% of heavy users. But then there's the psychological stuff. Get this, nomophobia. That's a real thing. It's the actual fear of being without your phone. Or what about phantom vibrations? You know that feeling, right? When you swear your phone buzzed in your pocket, but it's sitting right over there on the table? These aren't just funny little quirks. They're signs that our nervous system is basically stuck on high alert. So why? Why is it so darn hard to just look away? Well, let me tell you, it's not because you have no willpower. It's because there's some pretty powerful science at play here. Science that's been specifically engineered to keep you hooked. So let's dive into the engine that powers the scroll. Okay, the main culprit here is something called the dopamine loop. The best way to think about it is like having a little slot machine right there in your pocket. You see a notification. Ding! You've just pulled the lever. Your brain gets a tiny hit of dopamine. That's the feel-good hormone. That's your small reward. And of course, your brain loves that reward, so it immediately wants another one. And that's why you keep scrolling and checking and refreshing. You're trapped in a loop that was literally designed to never let you feel fully satisfied. And hey, this isn't just some abstract theory. Listen to how Dr. Alok Patel, an ABC News medical contributor, explains it. That little hit of dopamine he's talking about, that is the absolute core of why scrolling feels so compulsive. It's your brain doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's a normal biological response, but it's being hijacked by a very intentional design in our technology. Every single ping is like a tiny gamble for a reward, and our brains are just wired to keep on playing. And all of this leads to what that new Voodoo study called the digital detox paradox. It's this crazy internal conflict we all feel. On one hand, more than 2/3 of us know that taking a tech break would make us feel better. We know it. But on the other hand, more than half of us feel like our tech is just too essential to our lives to actually limit it. Does that tension sound familiar? I need to disconnect, but I can't. It's a real struggle. Okay, but here is the good news. The tide is starting to turn. People are starting to move past this paradox and into something way more empowering. It's what we're calling the realistic detox movement. So if you're feeling like you want to make a change, I'm telling you, you are so not alone. Just look at this. Almost half of all people are now intentionally trying to reduce their screen time. This isn't some fringe idea anymore. It's a full-blown mainstream movement. People are taking back control, and you can be part of that. And this new approach, it's not about being a Luddite and throwing your phone in a river. The key idea here is a philosophy called digital minimalism. And honestly, this is a total game changer. It's not about an all-or-nothing war against tech. It's about becoming a more intentional user. It's like pruning the digital weeds and clutter so you can focus on the tools that actually genuinely add value to your life. Okay, so that's the big idea, the philosophy. But how do we actually do it? How do we put it into practice? Well, this next section is your practical toolkit. We're talking small, easy steps that can make a huge, huge impact. Listen, you don't have to go on some week-long silent retreat to make a difference. You can start with what we call a micro detox.
So first up, try a phone-free morning. For just the first hour of your day, pretend your phone doesn't exist. You'll be amazed how it swaps out that morning anxiety for a sense of calm. Second, create some screen-free zones. The dining table, that's for conversation. The bedroom, that's for sleep. You'll instantly improve your connection with people and get better rest. And finally, number 3, schedule a tech recess during your workday. Yep, just like in grade school. Take a short, intentional break away from your screen every 90 minutes or so. It helps you come back totally recharged and way more focused.
And remember, you don't have to rely on sheer willpower alone. There are amazing tools out there to help you build better habits. Things like app blockers. They can slash that compulsive phone checking by more than 60%. And for the really deep-seated habits, there's cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It actually helps you rewire the thought patterns that make you want to scroll in the first place, and it has an incredible 83% success rate in improving self-regulation. But here's the real secret sauce. The most effective strategy is to combine them. Use the tools to create the space, and then use mindfulness to change your behavior in that new space. All right, as we start to wrap this up, let's land on what might be the most important idea of all. This whole journey, it is not about achieving some kind of digital perfection. That's impossible. It's about finding your personal balance. It's about embracing that simple, powerful motto, progress over perfection. I want you to hear this quote from Samara Theodore. She took a year-long break from social media, and when she talked about it, she said, "It made me remember what's real and what's not." And that right there is the ultimate prize. The goal isn't just to have less screen time. The goal is to have more real life, to be more present, to have deeper connections with people, and to get a clearer picture of who you are without all that digital noise. So I'm going to leave you with one last question. And listen, forget about trying to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just start somewhere. What is one small, tiny change you can make starting today to begin reclaiming your attention? To finally own your phone instead of letting it own you. Thanks for joining me.